Welcome to Dell EMC Networking Tech Talk with OpenManage Network Manager. This is for OMNM 6.5, and this is Bill Acevedo, and today we are going to talk about traffic flow analysis. So to start off for traffic flow, the devices in your inventory will not accept, or actually OMNM in general will not accept traffic flow until you register devices to accept it. And so if you have a device, for example, a switch here that you want, that you know is configured to send data to OMNM, and you want it to be accepted, you need to register it. So you simply just right click and do traffic flow analyzer and register that. Once that happens, it takes a few minutes. As it starts accumulating data, then it will start showing data on the traffic flow portlets. Now, if you have not configured traffic flow from the box to be sent yet, you'll need to do that in order to get the right information and the right flows to be sent. One other option here is that we do support the ability to do that from the product for a limited number of devices, and it's as simple as selecting a device. Let me just find one here that I think is supported. Something like here's a Power Connect here. That was not a good choice. Let me find one here. A 6000 here, which should work. So we should see here that you can register, obviously register this device, but you'll see here these other options for create configuration, remove, and show. We will provide some default configuration at the top level to start traffic flow going. Now you need configuration at two places. You need it not only at the top level, but you need to select the port and put configuration at that level. So there's two steps here. Configure it, create configuration, and so I'm just going to show configuration. I don't want to pull this information right now, but this is the information that would typically be shown. And so basically we're just showing what's on the box right now. So this is the kind of information you're going to push to the box at the top level. So you would do that by doing that create configuration. If you want to remove it, you can always remove it. So once you do it at the top level, then you need to go find the port that you want also to be configured. And so I'm not going to push one here, but let's say you pick a port here, then you want to say traffic flow analyzer, and you also want to do the create configuration here. And so I'll give you a few options here on what you want to set, and you can simply execute that. And or if you have global settings, you can do that as well. Depends on the device what the options are here, but that will push it to the port level. And so once that's set up, then you'd be in a position to go and re-register this device. You can register it before if you know you're going to accept traffic, but generally the process is create the top level configuration, do the port level or interface, and then register it to accept traffic. So once you have that done, your traffic flow portlets will start showing data. And so what you see here are the default portlets that we have in the product to show various things. And so it's just at a high level, we can look at these by application. Again, these are packets samplings for TFA packets, and this could be JFlow, SFlow, CFlow, IPFix. We do all of that. And so we're just analyzing the packet and pulling this information out and representing it here. And so by application, endpoint is just something that's getting data or sending data. It could be either one. We have conversations, which is typically where you have two ends talking to each other, acknowledging that each other. So this is a session-oriented type thing where something is being sent, something is being received. And so you'll see that conversations. You'll see by equipment manager. This is actually by the device that's exporting. I have a simulator right now, but if you have multiple devices exporting, that's this portlet here. It would show you which ones are exporting and how much data. And then by subcomponent, just scroll past that here. You'll see by subcomponent. If you wanted to see it by subcomponent, that's by the port that's being sent. Again, this is a sim. You're not going to see that. You can do it by protocol. If you want to see the protocol, it'll break that down. And then we've got by sender, which device is actually sending the most data. Receiver, which one is receiving the most data. And then if you're using autonomous system, you'll see that breakdown by the autonomous system. All the portlets in general support the same functionality and the ability to drill into various things. And so let's just take the application bytes, for example. And so let's say we're in here for troubleshooting or whatever reason, we want to drill into Telnet. We can simply click on this and basically get a specific graph of just Telnet. And before I do that, I want to explore what these buttons are up on the top here. And so here you can select the time frame. If you want this portlet at this level to show a specific time frame of data, you can set that. If you want to toggle between, is it an estimated or actual? We all know that traffic flow data is all estimated. But if you want that to be toggled to show as if it were full data, you could toggle that if you wanted to. If you want to just see outbound data, you could toggle it here for ingress versus egress, depending on what you want to see. And then there's a help button here, which I'll show. This is our internal help, which shows some more details about these portlets. But let's go back to this here. So let's go look at our applications. We want to go drill into Telnet here. So we drill into that. We click on that. And so it's going to bring up a graph of just Telnet here. Again, we're in application by Telnet now. And so you're seeing over time the various things, the various activity for this particular protocol or application, and basically you see it's from the exporter, this particular exporter. But normally you would see a varying in graph, and so it would help you determine during what time of day. But you can also modify what you're seeing here. So you can go up here to the graphing thing, and you can look at it as a pie, bar, stack to column, whatever you want, however you want to see it. If you want to see longer data, you can see it for the last 30 days, last 15 minutes. You can see a custom range if you wanted to. So you can just basically enter that, and it would show you that data. Part of displaying that data is the granularity. Do you want to see detailed data down at every 10-minute plotted points, or do you just want to see daily or weekly? If you're doing a yearly report, you're probably not going to want to see 10-minute detail. That's going to, first of all, it's going to take a long time to load because there's a lot of 10-minute data over the course of a year. So just keep that in mind. You have the ability to search if you wanted to do a little more investigation on something. You can search all of your traffic flow information for specific things, and maybe look for specific data, or if you want to search for, transfer. So it's just going to show things with transfer in the name. And so it gives you the ability to kind of narrow it down. You can also search by IP. I don't have an IP here, but offhand, let's just see if I can get lucky here with a 10. Yeah, so it's going to show me anything with a 10. But if I knew I had a problem with a specific target IP, I could come in here and say 10.88.0.109, for example, and just focus in on that and see more information about that specific endpoint. Then I can go to see detailed views here about that, if there was any. Again, I don't have a lot of real interesting data here. But it's a way for you to search into that. And so just know that that's a way to further refine what you're looking at. So that's a good troubleshooting type thing. You can report on these things. You can select report types here depending on what screen you're in. It's grayed out in this particular mode. Again, you can select the mode for calculation, ingress or egress. You can do snapshotting here. If you're consuming a lot of data, or if you expect to have a lot of data, you may want to have a custom DAP profile retention settings. And so you can set here how much data and to what detailed data you want to save. And so saving, a lot of data obviously is going to require more storage. And so seems like an obvious thing there, but you can manipulate that here if you need to. And then you can actually export to CSV the data if you want to. While you're here, you can actually toggle between not only the detail for application, you can go into conversations. And so we'll do a refresh here. And so again, not real interesting. This is kind of it's a simulation, so it's just putting out solid data. But now you've noticed we've gone from, we're still in Telnet, but now we're looking at conversations for Telnet. Or you can say, I want to see protocols. This is going to be a little bit redundant maybe, but so this is showing the protocols. And then you can go down to something like senders or receivers and refresh on that. So it gives you the ability to toggle between all of the different portlets and see the various data, your traffic flow data. Now sometimes, I don't know if I have an example here. Let me just try something. Being a simulator, it's not going to show us a lot of real data, but sometimes you'll see data points that have there'll be gaps in the points. Now that just means that, especially with S-Flow, it doesn't necessarily send data at regular intervals. it sends data when it accumulates enough of a packet size to send it. And so what it means is that either at some interval on the graph, it didn't have enough data or any data at that interval to plot it. So you'll see a dot, maybe you'll skip a few dots and you'll see a few dots, and you'll connect the lines where you have multiple dots together, but you may see gaps in your graph. But in a nutshell, that's the way you're going to look at your TFA data. Okay, that's a high-level view of our traffic flow. There's also reporting involved with that, where you can do detailed reports through our reporting framework. We can cover that more when we get to reports, but those are time-sensitive reports. But you can report on all of that data as well. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next session. Thanks.